Hey, what's up everybody? DMHreviews. I got my cousin Tom here.
What up?
We just got done seeing the new Star Wars, The Last Jedi movie. What'd you think about it, Tom?
It lived up to my expectations because I knew it was going to be like Empire Strikes Back, and I thought it was really good. How about you?
That's a good question. What did I think about the movie? A lot of reviewers have said so far, you gotta see this one a second time. That's true. I think you do have to see this one a second time, but I don't know if I want to sit through it again. It was a good movie, I thought, overall. I'm still processing it.
Say if it came on DVD tomorrow, I would definitely go get it, and I would watch it a lot of times. Like, kind of how after Force Awakens, and you know what's going to happen, so then like you can find those little things that connects the scenes, and it made a really good movie, and I think this will be exactly just like that.
We were talking about it in the car on the way home. The movie was great overall. Thank God that the last act of the movie had a lot of action. All the arcs of the characters actually meant something to the movie. This was the longest Star Wars movie ever made, apparently. First two parts of the movie were kind of a little slow for me, but the third act definitely made up for that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, there's a few scenes they kind of stretch them to make them longer, and I feel like you could have cut a lot of it out. I mean, you waited like 2 years for another Star Wars movie, so when I heard it was a really like long movie, I was kind of happy because to me as a fan, I'm like, yes, I get to more Star Wars. It felt long at times, I do agree, but since I was so looking forward to it, I feel like I was okay with it being long.
Yeah, I can understand not wanting it to be short. I mean, it's Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
You wait for this for, ever since the last movie came out. I don't know, what was that, 3 years ago?
Last year was Rogue One, so yeah, 2 years ago.
Right, so this is an event. What are some of the highlights of the movie that you like the most?
The last hour, maybe 45 minutes. I really enjoyed.
The last 45 minutes were pretty action packed, and that's when like all the stuff with all the characters really were starting to go down. Yeah. This is a spoiler review because the movie's out already. So if you don't want to hear any of this, then just go ahead and fast forward to the end of this review so you can get our initial thoughts. One of the coolest parts of the movie, I thought, was when Rey was basically faced off against Kylo Ren and Snoke. And Snoke in this movie, they had a good amount of him in the movie.
Yeah, I did like that you actually get to see him this time. I thought it was just going to be a hologram of him again, and like seeing him in person, he still looked like a badass.
Yeah, but I thought it was really cool how he died. I kind of thought he was being a little bit lazy. Snoke admitted that Kylo Ren was not ready. He thought he was a child. He thought he was still conflicted. So if you're gonna have him and Rey in the same scene, you don't have a lightsaber right next to you, and you're not holding it.
Yeah, and the thing with that, like he said, like he knows he can read Kylo's mind. He's saying all this stuff, and at the same time, Kylo with his one hand is literally moving the lightsaber towards him. Boom, Kylo kills him, and I'm just like, I didn't expect Snoke to die.
Snoke shouldn't have been talking so much trash to Kylo Ren. He basically just left himself open to get killed.
Yeah, because if he didn't do it, Kylo probably would have killed Rey.
Plus, he wanted to be in charge anyway.
Yeah, so he kind of, maybe Kylo had it planned out where he wanted it like that. I don't think he did. I think it just kind of went that way, but I really liked how Kylo was in this movie, because in the last movie, he was just trying to live up to Darth Vader, and he was not doing a good job at it.
At any point in the movie, did you think that Rey was going to turn to the dark side?
No, because just how, her character is in person, I knew, she's not going to turn bad, because in, the original series, they try to do that, Luke, and they try to make it seem like, oh, he's almost going to the dark side, but it made it interesting seeing oh my god, is she actually going to join?
So a side story in the movie was Finn and Rose, a new character named Rose. Mm-hmm. I didn't really find that story too interesting.
I didn't really care about them. The Rose character, if you didn't have her, the movie still would have been great.
There was a purpose though. She had that pendant, I guess.
Which it did end up helping or try to open that door in the one ship.
Benicio del Toro's character used the pendant or whatever, the piece of jewelry that she had, to open up that door that you were just talking about. His character, not in the movie too much, didn't have much to do, and he didn't end up dying or anything like that in the movie either. So he'll probably be back in the next one. I'm not entirely sure what he's going to do. He's just basically a thief who helps out a little bit, and then he's a good guy, and then he turns out to be a bad guy. I think he's just a guy who's out for himself.
Yeah, he's gonna go whoever gives him the most money.
And then I thought the Millennium Falcon and Chewie were in the movie just because.
You have to have those two characters in the movie, but I feel like they didn't do a good job using them. I love Chewie, and he's hardly ever in it. And when he's in it, it's like 30 seconds, and then, all right, see ya, Chewie, in like a half an hour.
There is the Porgs. What do you think about the Porgs?
Oh, they were adorable. I thought they were funny.
They were cute, but they weren't, like, annoying. So, and they ended up having a good relationship with Chewie.
And I thought it was funny the scene when Chewie's eating he's about to eat one of the Porgs, and all the Porgs are surrounding him and just like crying. Oh my God, you're actually gonna eat one of us?
I thought they were in the movie just enough.
How'd you think of Luke Skywalker?
Luke Skywalker. He was in the movie. Okay, so Luke Skywalker, let's face it, Mark Hamill isn't the best actor in the world. It's been a good minute since he's been in anything.
I haven't seen anything of him.
And he does a lot of voiceover work, but he hasn't been in an actual movie for a while. I think he got himself into pretty good shape. He basically trains Rey, even though he didn't really train her that much.
Yeah, that was a problem. Like, for her to actually know what the Force is and how to like accept it and deal with it. And
yeah, there wasn't really much training going on. It was basically she showed up to convince him to come back. He doesn't really train her too much. She kind of trains herself a little bit.
Even in the last movie, I feel like she was learning about the Force by herself.
Rey's like, all right, well, if you're not going to do it, I gotta dip. And she takes off. She goes back towards the end of the movie. Luke finally comes back when you knew he was going to come back.
Yeah, I just didn't know, like, I knew he, like, especially in that last fight scene, I knew he was going to come back. I didn't know how he would come back, but.
Yeah. And then when he does come back, he comes back as an OG gangster. So at the end of the movie, when the First Order is essentially, it looks like they got all the good guys, Rey and Finn and Rose and Princess Leia. Pretty much looks like they have their backs up against the wall. Luke Skywalker shows up, and they have a really nice scene with him and Princess Leia. He just walks out in front of all those walkers and in front of Kylo Ren and all the bad guys, and he's just like, bring it. And they all start shooting and firing at him. You know, Kylo Ren's like, all guns pointed at Luke Skywalker. And they all fire at him at the same time. And
he just, like, the dust settles. And Luke comes out and he just wipes the shoulder.
Brushes it off, man.
Yeah.
Like, ain't nothing.
That, I think, was the best part of the movie. He just comes out.
The crowd was cheering at that point because everybody went nuts. So after that scene, Kylo Ren's like, you know what, screw this, take me down. He gets on the ground, and him and Luke face off. So nothing's working against Luke Skywalker. He basically dodges everything that Kylo throws at him. Kylo Ren just basically takes his lightsaber and goes right through him. And you're like, okay, is Luke chopped in half now?
Yeah. I thought we were going to have a visit to the old scene when Darth Vader chops Obi-Wan in half.
And at that point, I'm thinking to myself, okay, either Luke got chopped in half, or he's a Force ghost, or he's just doing a Jedi mind trick, which that's exactly what he was doing. He wasn't even there.
Then it like zooms in on Luke, and then it cuts to him like island.
He never even left the planet that he was on. So Luke uses the Force to pretend like he's there, which was pretty dope. And then Kylo Ren's like, what the hell's going on? It was basically just a distraction so that the rebellion had a chance to get away. And it was a very smart move. And once they did that, once they showed that part of the movie, it all sort of started to make sense. What didn't make sense to me, and I don't really understand, and maybe you get it a little bit more, T, is after that scene where Luke Skywalker is basically floating and then he's done, he just disappears. How did he die? Did he just die because he's like, alright, I'm done?
But like when Yoda died, he was old and he just couldn't do anything anymore. But Luke was just, the sun was out and he's like, I guess I did my job. I guess I can go now. I don't know. I definitely would have to see more, like have to look more into it, because that part did confuse me.
Why did he die?
Yeah, like there was no reason for him to die because he physically never got harmed.
So one of the things that I guess people were wondering since The Force Awakens came out was, who is Rey? Who are her parents? Kylo Ren basically tells her, your parents are nobody. They were thieves. They were smugglers.
Yeah, they traded bogus, but they traded her. Like, was it for
alcohol and goods
like,
and stuff like that. What I don't understand about that though is, how does she have the Force?
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't you have to have some sort of Force blood in you in order to have the Force?
Yeah,
they're probably going to explain that.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to have to explain that more. So, what'd you think about Princess Leia?
I like the fact that she didn't die in this movie. I would have understood them killing her character or her dying very respectfully, like doing like something very brave, which they had every opportunity in this movie for that to happen. But she's alive at the end of the movie, and I don't know how they're gonna. Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with the character in the next movie.
Yeah, it'll be interesting what they do, and I really liked her character, but the one problem I had and I was confused on was in the beginning when it looks like the ship, like the part of the ship she's in, just gets blown away, and everyone's dead, and you're like, oh my god, Princess Leia is dead, and it's not even like a half an hour into the movie, like they really got rid of her, and then she's like floating in space, and then
oh wait, hold on. All right, that's one cheesy corn ball part of the movie that I was just like, it sort of took me out of the movie. All right, like you just said, they blew up her ship. She's floating in space. You think she's dead. However, she uses the Force to float back into the ship, and then she's just okay? Here's what happens, folks, in case you don't know. If we somehow are in a spaceship and it explodes, and our bodies are still intact, yet we're floating in space, it's going to take about 5 to 10 seconds for our heads to swell up, and then they're going to explode. As far as I know, the Force protected Leia. At least that's what that scene seemed like.
I mean, I don't think maybe it was Luke. I don't know.
Okay, so the movie came out today, and we just literally got done seeing it. There's a lot of things that need to be explained.
Yeah.
I've seen reviews, but I haven't seen any spoiler reviews. There's a lot of questions that still need to be answered as far as I'm concerned.
You had to explain how Luke just kind of floated off into the air.
Yeah, why did Luke Skywalker die exactly? It's almost like he decided, all right, everybody, that's enough for me. I'm going to go ahead and die now.
You got Rey now to you guys to have hope in. You don't need me anymore, so goodbye.
Kylo Ren didn't die, so he's going to be in the next one.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think Finn's character is going to do? It almost looked like he was going to die in this movie. Like he was making a sacrifice.
Yeah, I really thought. And the thing, what I was surprised, how I thought both Finn and Rose were in the same ship together. So I'm like, oh my god, they're going to go die together. And then you just see Rose just come out of nowhere and just knock Finn out of that beam. She saves him. And like I just thought that was surprised because, like I said, I just thought they were on the same ship, like the same plane together, but apparently not. Maybe that was just me that just thought that.
Both of their characters were sort of okay in this movie. I would have been happier if there would have been more scenes with Finn and Rey.
Because I mean, he literally woke up in the beginning of the movie, and his first thoughts was, "Where's Rey?" Like that's literally what he said. And
yeah, and they barely have any screen time together.
The other problem I didn't like with the movie was Captain Phasma.
The thing with Captain Phasma is that, so she was barely in the last movie, and then they decided to bring her back for this movie.
Yeah.
And then she's barely in this.
Wasn't until like hour and a half into the movie she finally comes. God, she's such a pointless character. Like I did some research on her. I know her job was to train the stormtroopers. Her suit is so cool. I like her suit.
She has a cool suit. They don't need to bring her back. I thought it was cool that Finn got a good fight in there. He killed Captain Phasma. Good on them. That was a pretty cool scene. And, you know, she doesn't need to be in any of the other movies. She looks cool, but I think she was just in there to sell another toy. Alright guys, we're still processing this movie. We just got out of the theater about an hour or so ago, so we're still thinking about it, still fresh on the mind. Why don't you guys comment below what you think the next movie is going to be about? How are they going to deal with Princess Leia's character?
But I know Star Wars, they'll do a good job.
Also, guys, let us know, what was the deal with Luke Skywalker dying like that?
Yeah, I'd like to know that.
Was there a purpose? Was there a point to that? Is he really gone? He's probably going to come back as a Force ghost in the next movie.
Yeah. How did the Force protect Leia from dying because she was just floating in space? I would really like to know how she kind of just wakes up and then the Force kind of just floats her back into the ship and she's alive. That
was the weirdest part of the movie. But overall, T, what do you think? What did you think about Star Wars: The Last Jedi?
Compared to The Empire Strikes Back, what this movie is supposed to be like, it lived up to my expectations. How about you?
Say overall, I enjoyed the movie. Ended in a satisfying way for me. Mm-hmm. There were definitely parts of the movie that I thought were weird and sort of I have questions about. Also, there were definitely times in the movie that I was thinking to myself, I don't like this movie too much. There were parts that I thought were boring. Third act of the movie saved it for me. It was action-packed. Everything ended the way that I sort of wanted it to end.
What would you give it out of 10?
I thought that they could have shaved about 20 minutes off this movie in different parts of it. It didn't need to be as long as it was. I mean, I liked it. I can't give it a rating right now. All I can say is I liked it, and I don't know if I would go back to the movie theater to see this one, just because it was a little too long for me. And when it comes out on Blu-ray, I can see it on Blu-ray.
Like you said, I would definitely have to see it a few more times, just like I had to do for Force Awakens, to get a good idea how I actually feel about the movie. Because right now, I have a lot of questions. And once I start doing more research and watching it a few more times, I'm definitely going to have a better understanding of how I actually feel on this movie. It was a little scene at the end. I don't know if you saw it. It was the last scene when they open a drawer, and I think they were getting something out of it. And I saw the last temple, the Jedi Temple books in there. I was surprised by that. Because we saw the whole temple burned down, so I was surprised that Rey took them before she left. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't see that. Alright, 2 quick things. Not enough Chewie, and the Porgs weren't as annoying as I thought they were going to be. That's our review of Star Wars: The Last Jedi. We're probably going to talk about it in future reviews just because, we're still thinking about the movie a lot. Thanks guys for joining us on this review, and until next time, we're out. Peace.